Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is John Spangle. I'm a disabled veteran. I've made a series of videos. I'm not able to get out, attend church, or anything like that, so I like to talk about God. So I decided to make a series of videos to explain certain things or topics that I believe in. And none of these I will never say that I'm 100% correct. I'm 54 years old. I'm still learning. And this is my studies that I do on a daily basis. These topics I come out with, and I just throw my input out there and let someone else study and maybe encourage them to study God's word and come up with the answers to their own ideas or where they believe the walk with as we learn with our walk with Christ. But today's topic, I'm talking about secret societies. I'm going to explain what the Bible talks about being part of a secret society and if it's something we should do or if they're how dangerous they can be. And first off, first thing I talk about is we don't do things as Christians. We don't do things in secret. Like right now, it's a year before we just had Thanksgiving. About a little bit less than a year, we'll have an election. President of the United States in America, and right now they're trying to impeach the president, the current president of the United States, and they're doing it in secret. And the meeting, they've done the impeachment hearings are all over. Now they're going to do the impeachment inquiry, if I say that correctly. I apologize. My speech sometimes gives me problems. Or they had meetings in secret, and then they're trying to get things against the president to impeach him. So I start out with Ephesians 5:12. For it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret. John 18:20. Jesus answered him, I spake as in spoken, openly to the world. I never taught in the synagogue and in the temple. I ever taught in the synagogue and the temple, whither the Jew always resort. And in secret have I said nothing. In other words, when Jesus Christ taught, he talked openly. He never did anything in secret, not in those meetings like I talk about trying to impeach the President of the United States, where they're meeting in the basement trying to do things and just has a sense of evil. Secret societies, a lot of times, the one thing about a secret society is you're taking an oath. Initiative, you have to take an oath before you join these societies. So I looked up what taking an oath meant in God's word. And this is Jesus speaking. It says Matthew 5:33 through 37. Again, ye have heard that it hath been said by them of old time, Thou shalt not forswear thyself, but shalt perform unto the Lord thy oaths. But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Neither shalt thou swear by the head, because thou canst not make one hair white or black. But let your communication be yea, yea, and nay, nay. For whosoever is more than these cometh of evil. Oath binds us. It's a binding. A lot of times in the Old Testament, and that's something I'll video I'll make later on about covenants. A covenant, when someone makes a covenant, like God has done with Abraham, he made a covenant. But when we take an oath that binds us, our words are very important. The smallest muscle in the body is the tongue, but it's the most powerful. Our words can hurt people. Our words can start wars. Our words can do many things. Matter of fact, when Jesus Christ comes, not in the rapture, but after tribulation and everything, when he comes again, when he speaks in the battle of Armageddon, he speaks and it's done, for it is God's word. But the Bible speaks about not binding with non-believers, binding with unchristians. That's like making oaths and being bound to them. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 14 through 17. Be ye not unequally yoked together with non-believers or unbelievers, for what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness, and with communion hath light with darkness? And what concord hath Christ with Belial? Or what part hath he that believeth with an infidel? And what agreement hath the temple of God with idols? For ye are the temple of the living God. As God hath said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Wherefore come out from among them, be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. So we have to be careful. We're not to be taking oaths. And all these secret societies, you do that. There's an oath taking. You're binding yourself with that, the unbelievers, to do the practices. And what that means is the practice is going on in these secret societies, which you rituals, and they're all the ones I talk about all have known ritual cult like practices. Now I'm going to give 6 examples of a secret society. And first off, I start reading these, you'll get the idea of all these societies are the same thing. It's hidden, secret, mystical wisdom. And when in the Garden of Eden, when Satan spoke through the serpent, and I actually believe that happened. A lot of people mocked me and made fun of me. I do believe the serpent walked and there was a communication. I don't believe the serpent spoke English. There was a communication with the animals. Abraham named the animals. There was communication. But now we don't have that. Everything changed after the sin. But before the sin, there was communication. So somehow they communicated. And Satan, through the serpent, told Adam and Eve, and then she ate the forbidden fruit, and then Adam knew she was deceived, but decided to follow her. But basically, he told her to look at that, and she said, "Would we die if we take the forbidden fruit?" And Satan, paraphrasing, you can look it up in Genesis 1st chapter and read, but the gist of it is that he tempted her about wisdom. He told her that we would be like God, we'd be godlike, and that we would not surely die, which he teaches half-truths, because at that moment she did not die, but they made the immortal mortal. So at that moment she spiritually died and didn't know it. Then later, of course, they died. But it was the original sin was actually to become knowledge. A lot of times you'll see things on History Channel, different things about the ancient knowledge, because we always want to push this man come from evolution, which is totally wrong. I talked about that in a previous video, where first man was smarter than men are today. Bigger, smarter, larger. We find all kinds of ruins of civilizations all over this world that we cannot even build the same things today. The pyramids, we can't build the pyramids exactly the way they built, even with our technology. So, like when I talk about Romans concrete, how it was made compared to our concrete, was stronger, better, or things last longer than ours. So there's a lot of knowledge because the ancient people had. But these secret societies, they kind of tempt you or give you that fruit, say, hey, get this wisdom we got. So I'm going to give 6 examples of secret societies. And some of these societies help people, believe it or not. And then you're thinking, well, there's good people belong to this. I'll explain that in a minute. The first one is and I'm going to butcher some of these names, and I apologize. I have trouble speaking, and my pronunciation is very bad. But the first society I speak about is the Rosicrucian order, also known as the Ancient Mystical Order of Rosicrucians, or AMORC. It has its roots in the mystery traditions, philosophy, and myths of ancient Egypt, dating back to approximately 1500 BC. In antiquity, the word mystery referred to a special gnosis, a secret wisdom. Thousands of years ago in ancient Egypt, select bodies of schools were formed to explore the mysteries of life and learn the secrets of the hidden wisdom. Contrary to what historians affirm, Rosicrucian tradition relates that the Giza pyramids were not built to be the tombs of pharaohs, but were actually places of study and mystical initiation. So this is a note order that is still today, still going on today, that you can belong to. And the thing about it is, it talks about the mysteries, ties back down to Egypt. But one thing is, it talks about the tombs not, the pyramids not being tombs of pharaohs. That's something I looked at and think about and agree. We try to say, hey, these, because we're located, these are the tombs of pharaohs, but I don't agree with it. There's also, I was researching, there was 3 pyramids. They've been located in South Pole, Antarctica, South Pole. And there's stories there that I'll do a video later on about that. Antarctica itself is very important, what's been going on down there. But this order is still going on today. And very secretive. We don't even know exactly, you can research it, but there's a lot that's, we don't know that they're involved with. Now, the second one I'm going to talk about, Freemasonry, Masons. I have a lot of people in my family that belong to this. My uncle, he's passed away a few years ago. He's a minister of a church, and he was a Freemason, high up. And I care a lot about him, but I totally disagree, and I don't consider him a true minister of God doing what he was being part of Mason. I know people would say, hey, that's not the way to be, but sorry to say that. I disagree. Christianity, true Christianity is not popular. We study God's word. A lot of people, non-believers, give us a hard time. And then people that think they're Christians belong to churches, go to church, and are very active in church. Won't spend the time to study and see things, and they'd be like, what are you doing? Because I know a lot of Masons and involved in things and charities and helping people. But that still doesn't mean it's right to be doing what they're doing. It is accepted among Masonic scholars that Freemasonry arose from the stonemasons guilds during the Middle Ages. The oldest document that makes reference to Masons is the Regius Poem, printed about 1390, which was a copy of an earlier work. In 1717, 4 lodges in London formed the first Grand Lodge of England, and records from that point on are more complete. Freemasonry became very popular in colonial America, with membership including. Now, we know things about the Masons because a lot of people, Freemasonry has come out with a lot of information. So yes, it's still considered a secret society. There's a lot of things they do in secret, but we do have quite a bit of information about them. But we know our forefathers or founding fathers of our country were involved. George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Paul Revere, Joseph Warren, John Hancock, John Sullivan, Lafayette, Baron Frederick von Steuben, Nathaniel Greene, and John Paul Jones. Just a few people that we know that were Freemasons involved. Washington, D.C. is set up, the geometry, sorry about my speech, is involved with Masonry and Freemasons. The way Washington, D.C. is set up, it's very much involved in our country, and that doesn't make it right. I know a lot of people are, because I have a lot of good friends that are Masons. I have people I've served in the military that are Masons. My grandfather, he was involved in a lot of things. I love him. He was a good, I'm actually a good man. He changed a lot right before he died. So hopefully he changed for the good. I don't know. I was away in the military overseas the first time, and I came back, unfortunately, before he passed away while I was overseas. We were very close. I remember he was a Democrat. I don't think today, though, he'd be happy with the Democrat Party, because there's a lot of things I know in the Democrat Party going on today that he was totally against, would be. And one thing major would be abortion. Now, even back then, abortion is murder. That's the way he would look at it. So there's a lot going on in the Democratic Party that he would not agree with. But to be honest, back then he was very active in the Democrat Party. He was a very active Democrat. He was involved with the DNC, going to the DNC during elections. I know that I thought I saw a Freemason. I thought I saw the ring from Freemason. Like I said, his son, my uncle, was a Freemason. but I know he did a lot at the lodge. Did a lot of drinking, so he went over and drank because he knew people everywhere. If he needed a job, he called him. I remember as a teenager going over and going to do some stuff with him. We had to wait a while because a couple of people was calling him, and he was trying to help him get a job. For this older man had a son that was going through college and was having trouble getting a second job to help his college, and called my grandfather within just a short period of time. He had him hooked up with the job, so it's close to home. But I can disagree on things and see things different. I know that my grandfather never was much about going to church, but I know a lot of times we get sick and being ill. Myself, I'm a cancer survivor. It changes your outlook on life, and for him, he changed a lot in that last year, from what I understand from my family, and did things that he tried to help him do. So I think about him all the time. Now, another one I'm going to get a lot of people not happy with me about because it has to do branch off the Catholic Church is, and I butcher these names, I'm sorry, it's Opus Dei, Opusdei, formerly known as the Prelature of the Holy Cross, Opus Dei, Latin meaning Prelature Sancti Christus F. Opus Dei. I don't know if I say that right. It is an institution of the Catholic Church which teaches that everyone is called to holiness, that through ordinary life is a path to sanctity. Opus Dei is often being accused of intense secrecy. Opus Dei does not publish membership lists, and members generally do not publicly reveal they are part of this organization. According to its 1950 Constitution, members are forbidden to reveal their membership without the express permission of their superiors. Opus Dei is secretive about its activities and does not allow many of its rules to be made public. A lot of people are involved with it, and I'm going to speak more about it in the Catholic Church in a couple here. I'm going to give a couple other secret societies, and I'm going to go back and talk about Opus Dei and this. The fourth one I have is Bohemian Grove. Over 120 years, many leaders or elites from all over the world go to practice cult rituals. Some of these rituals come from Canaan and Babylon. These leaders meet for 17 days each July, some 1,500 in number. Their membership roll is kept secret, but includes the super rich blood dynasty member families of the Illuminati. And yes, the Illuminati, something we've heard through the years, is a secret organization. Don't know too much about it. It's like those things, things are in secret, but the truth comes out. God allows certain things to come out. And the Illuminati pushes the New World Order, which now it's called globalization. Same thing. And they've been pushing. That's the reason why they're pushing socialism into the United States. The reason why is the whole world will come into a one world order. As they say, the fancy word for it, globalization now, they kind of changed the word. It's a socialist society. The whole world is going to become a socialist society except for Israel. Israel will be the only democracy on the face of the earth. And then when the time Ezekiel war, the whole world does not back Israel. So America will become socialist. And I believe President Trump is the last U.S. president before socialism. Whether he gets 4 more years or not, I just don't see. I think we're in that time frame window. It's a blessing for us, but it's not going to last because there's judgment coming to the United States, which well overdue. We deserve judgment in this country, this nation. We're killing children by the thousands every day. Call it abortion. Call it women have rights to their body, which is a lie. If you're pregnant, that baby's responsibility of the man and the woman. And it's disgusting. You're killing them. I've had a lot of discussions with people. Facebook, I spent one night, 4 hours. I told my wife about a couple of people we know. I had a family member, a couple of her friends just giving me a hard time about these young ladies about abortion, how bad and awful I am. And the one girl told me that abortion is no different than scratching dry skin off your arm compared to when the baby just, becomes alive, where the sperm meets the egg. It's just a cell. It's nothing. And disgusting. She was mad. She called me names. I'm a horrible person. I've been called many things. I've been over 20 years in the military. I've served 2 branches of the military, Air Force and Army National Guard. I've been overseas. I'm a combat veteran. So yeah, I've been called many things. It doesn't bother me. I get upset because I know these people are lost, and I feel for them. But at the same time, I mean, how awful can you be to just think so lightly of life? I'm very much into honoring life that God gives us, and I believe in protecting the innocent. That's the reason why I put the years in the military. I'm sick. I'm torn. I have a lot of issues that I deal with, PTSD. But it's because I've been through a lot. But I've done what I'm supposed to do. We all got different things in our life to do, and that's why I am the place I am today. But the includes the Illuminati, like I was speaking about, the member families Illuminati, heavy-hitting corporate chieftains, and high government officials. This organization here, a lot of U.S. presidents were involved with this. Nixon, everybody's talking about impeachment. Nixon made the statement years ago that it's easier to be U.S. president than to be president of the Bohemian Grove Society. And a lot of things have been going on there. And one of the rituals that we do know that takes place there is I call it the fire ritual, where they simulate burning a baby. And there's been proof of that. I don't think actually burning a baby, but I mean, they're hopefully not, but they're burning. And you look at and laugh, say, yeah, they're burning. You're saying they're burning baby. Well, you know what? We're killing babies by the thousands. What's the difference? We're killing babies. The people are pushing the government to the third term. As soon as the baby's born, you can still abort it. So, how far is that? Far-fetched? Is it really? Hope not. Number 5, Skull and Bones, the Order 322. Skull and Bones was founded in 1832. Initiation into the order involves cult-like rituals. This is at Yale University. When John Currier was asked about his initiation in the order, the person asking the question was promptly tased and arrested. I read that and I researched it, and as far as I know, that's true. That's just why I put that in there. That's how severe this is. Tim Russert on Meet the Press in 2004 asked both President Bush and John Kerry about their membership in Skull and Bones, to which the president replied, "It's so secret we can't talk about it." And Kerry replied, "You trying to get rid of me here?" That's how serious this stuff is. And I know we had George Bush Sr. and George Bush Jr. involved in the Skull and Bones. These societies do cult rituals. They're demonic, and they are involved with people of power. That's the reason why I put them in here. These have to do with people in power and positions, and they make oaths. And how far does that go? And it goes very deep. And the last one I talk about, which was a secret society, it's pretty well disbanded. I've heard some rumors that people are trying to bring something like it back, but it's the Knights Templar. And I put this one up because it's great, because it's supposed to represent Christianity, and I stand by this, and I'm very firm on this. Knights Templar, the Crusades, are not Christian. They were done through the Catholic Church. I know I have Catholic friends, brothers I love, but I'm not going to. It just infuriates me because I've been to the Middle East, and it infuriates me because actually during Operation Desert Storm, we had our vehicles where we had the Red Cross on it, and because of the Crusades, some of our vehicles we didn't even have the Red Cross on, and a lot of people don't know that in the media. And the reason for that was offended the Muslim people. But it bothers me because they say after Christian fighters, and they talk about these Christian fighters, they're not real Christians. All right. Captured Jerusalem during the First Crusade, groups of pilgrims from across Western Europe began visiting the Holy Land. Many were killed while crossing through Muslim-controlled territory during their journey. Around 1118, a French knight named Hugh de Payens founded a military order along with 8 relatives and acquaintances, calling it the Poor Knights of the Temple of King Solomon, later known as the Knights Templar. With the support of Baldwin the Second, the King of Jerusalem, they set up headquarters on the sacred Temple Mount and pledged to protect Christian visitors to the city. On October 13th, 1307, this is where we get superstitious, Friday the 13th, scores of French Templars were arrested along with the order's Grand Master Jacques de la Molloy. After a long trial in 1310, dozens of Templars were burned at the stake in Paris. De Molloy would suffer the same in 1314. King Philip got the wealth of the Templars, and they were disbanded by the Pope Clement in 1312. This whole deal about the Templars is they came in a lot of power. After they were in the Middle East in the Crusades and they were supposedly helping the pilgrims, they founded areas underneath the Temple Mount, excuse me, where they got a lot of the gold. And there was so much gold because Solomon had gold everywhere. There was so much they found buried and taken out. And I believe this is where a lot of the wealth in Europe comes from. That's how much gold Solomon had. And King Philip, because of the wars and different things and this mismanagement of money, was hurting. So he decided to take the wealth from the Templars, and that's what he did. And these Templars were tortured for a lot. That's just why they were. The trials lasted so long because they were in jail, tortured, beaten, and tried for heresies and everything else according to the Catholic Church. And later, they were tortured and killed and burned at the stake for crimes against God. Not by God, but by men who say they know God. But the reason why I put that in there, because you've got the Knights Templar, you have Opus Dei, I say that correctly, are parts of the Catholic Church. Like I said a lot of times, and I said in previous videos, the Catholic Church is false church. It's nothing to do with Christianity. I know a lot of people will be upset with me saying that, but Jesus Christ, when I explained to my wife one time, Jesus Christ came to earth to separate people. He said so himself. He came here to separate families, husband and wife, children, parents, because you have to be willing to give up for him. It's all about him. Our Creator created us for his pleasure, meaning he loves us. Like my grandkids are all hanging out with my daughters tonight, and then tomorrow I can't wait to go over for breakfast. And I see all the grandkids because my son and his 2 kids are over there with my daughter's son. So I got 2 grandsons and a granddaughter waiting to see old Papaw again. They spent the day with me today. I'm going to enjoy tomorrow with them. I had to come home. I was hurting so bad. I have chronic pain a lot. So it sucks. To be honest, I don't get to enjoy as much as I used to. But I look forward to in the morning to go see them, spend a little time with, a couple hours or so. And I love them so much. They're a blessing. But even no matter how I love them so much, I love God more. When I found out I had cancer, we stage 4, and we thought it was it. And then later, luckily they changed to stage 3, and I survived it. At that moment, though, I was ready. In a way, I was excited because as a Christian, what do you have to look forward to? I have to look forward to being with God. I deal with issues here. I deal with depression, different issues I have because of what I've done and military and been through. But this is flesh. This is weak. I always have that knowing that I'm going to God. No matter what, he's waiting for me. And he's done more than anybody else could. He sacrificed in a way that no one else could sacrifice for me because he loved me so much. So I look forward to going to him. And people mock me and give me a hard time about these issues I talk about. and chastise me. I've not had too many comments. So far, I've had one comment out of over 30 videos, and it's been a decent comment. But I mean, other people know I'm doing these, and they comment on different things. I do what I think God would want me to do, and just speak about Him and speak about things that interest me. But these secret societies, even though they seem to do good, especially with the Masons. I know a lot of people dealing with different things and where they're helping people financially or through charities. That's the way Satan works. He twists the good with the bad. He loves to make you think you're doing something good when actually you're doing something. You may not be doing something good. It's because of the rituals you go through that are ungodly, and they bind you to worldly things, with whether you realize it or not. So I hope this video was interesting. It was a short video, and I was limited on my research and time. I've had a bad week this week, and I'm working on a couple other videos later on. And I just hope that you are willing to study in God's Word, and I look forward to making more videos. God bless you.